Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our third year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo and today is Thursday, August 13th, 2020. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. 6 weeks from now, there might be a lot of New England Patriot fans crying themselves to sleep every night because they're still in the early stages of Tom Brady postpartum depression. But luckily for Pats fans, they still have the Boston Pro to look forward to, especially now that Regan Grimes is throwing his hat into the ring. With only a month and a half to go before he makes his season debut, the next 2 or 3 weeks are critical because these are the moments that separate the contenders from the pretenders. But for a guy with Regan's pedigree, backtracking should never be an option. As the great General Patton would say, there's only one thing to do, go forward. So if he keeps marching ahead and puts one front in foot of the other, I see him as being a front runner to bring home the win. It's been a rough road for college football fans between the Big Ten coming out and canceling their season and primetime players like Trevor Lawrence publicly going to war with one of the most powerful institutions in America. All in all, it's been a rough ride for just about everyone involved. So if all the craziness has you looking for a stable force to attach your anchor to, Rafael Brandao may be your #1 option. Since he's been back home in Brazil, Rapha's been like a man on a mission, which is exactly what you want when you're looking for someone tried and true. Being back home in his natural element seems like it's a tad rejuvenating on Rapha. And when you have a guy with this type of talent operating inside his comfort zone, it usually means trouble for anyone brave enough to stand in his way. During a conversation with the president, a former White House staffer was quoted as saying, "Mr. President, every great man can be defined in one sentence. What's your sentence going to be?" For Etila Santiago, that sentence might end up going something like this. By her second season as an IFBB pro, she'd already established herself as the most dominant bikini athlete Brazil has ever produced, even though she only had a handful of shows under her belt. Attila's already built up a really impressive resume by collecting a handful of wins, placing 8th in her Olympia debut and 5th at the Arnold back in March. She's gotten better every time we've seen her, so if she keeps trending upward, there are only a few spots left to climb on the ladder. And finally, I want to end today's show by sending out a very happy trails to my longtime friend Brad Rowe, who announced on Monday that he was hanging up the posing trunks for good and heading into retirement. For the better part of the last decade, Brad's been a fixture on the bodybuilding scene, competing in dozens of pro and amateur events, including a trip to the Olympia back in 2015. But for as good as a representative that Brad was on the stage, he probably was an even better ambassador for the sport away from it, where he's been featured in dozens of TV commercials and various public projects. Brad, it was a fun ride while it lasted, and I hope that whatever's waiting for you in your next chapter is even better than the last. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.